Hello, my name is Sagvijay Kumar and this is ENME435 homework number 6, question number 2. The purpose of this homework is to implement a TikTok algorithm whereby a face is detected, and using this algorithm we're going to center that face. Or in other words, when the person is moving around, the face shall remain in the center while the background moves around so as to ensure that the face is always centered. So all this was previously discussed in our question 1, which is in homework, which was our smart doorbell algorithm for homework number 6. A video of that is in our YouTube channel below. And the first part over here is basically the same. Let's go into the code which detects our face just as a recap. So you can see this blob over here basically collects all our frames and processes them using mean subtraction, scaling, and channel swapping. And then what happens is we compare this blob to sample model, which was defined over here, our prototypes in our cafe model. And then what we do is we detect the common aspects between our between our deep neural network and our images. And if you're able to detect a confidence level of greater than 50%, as in this if block here, we create a bounding box around that face, wherein start x, start y, end x, end y are the coordinates, where start x and start y are the coordinates of the top left, and end x, end y are the coordinates at the bottom right of the bounding box that surrounds the face. We then have a text which basically prints out the confidence level with which the face has been detected, and then we use a rectangle to plot out the box around the face, and then we put the text also, as can be seen here. So this is the section where things get interesting, and this part is basically our algorithm. So to start off, what happens is, as mentioned before, we are an index and start x. So what that suggests is, so what index and start x, over here what happens is we have a start x, which is a new variable, and what we do is we find the difference between the end and the start in terms of the x coordinates. So when you subtract these two, we get the width or the dimension of the bounding box in the x direction. And then what we do is we divide that by 2, and then we add that to our start x, which means we have what this quantity basically represents is the distance from the start and then traversing half of the length of the bounding box in the x direction. And start y is the same, except it's going to happen in the y direction. So we start at start y, which is the top left coordinate, and then we traverse half the length or half the direction of the bounding box in the y direction. Now diff x and diff y are two new variables where we subtract start x from 640. And remember, 640 and 480 are the dimensions of our video frame that we originally use. So from 640, we subtract half of the length in the x direction, which starts from the top left corner of the box that is drawn around the face. Similarly, we subtract the same but in the y direction from 480, which is the direction in our y axis. One more thing to notice is that we have created a zero array and we have doubled our dimensions. You can see it was 480, so double of 480 is 960, double of 640 is 1280, and we've got 3 channels. The reason for this is to ensure that we have enough space, and also to ensure that our original video frame is able to move around in such a way that our face is always centered. If these dimensions were perhaps smaller, then we would not be able to truly capture that. So that is the purpose of this result. And then what happens is we declare the result. So diff y all the way up to diff y plus 480. So as you can see, diff y is our original coordinate. And remember, our original coordinate can change from, as can be seen here and here. And we always go 480, we add 480, and similarly for x, we add 640. The purpose of this is to ensure that our coordinates that our dimensions are always the same as our image. So as you can see, our image goes from 0 to image shape of 0, which is 480, and this goes from 0 to 640. So the purpose of having a variable over here is to ensure that our face remains in the center, but everything else that is not detected as the face can move around. And this moves around on the black screen, which is defined by np.zeros. And what happens is, this in our computer was too big, so I also applied resizing factors. So I scaled it down to 60%, as can be seen here, and then I applied that on our results frame. So what happens is, now we have an out1.write, which basically writes this down into our video function.